Hello everyone, this is Donnie, aka Elevated with Dota Alchemy, coming at you with another video today, and this one is going to be a quick one and hopefully a very useful one. We are going to cover 6 quick fixes that will win you more lanes. Number 1, stop buying Quelling Blade as one of your starting items, carries. I see you walking out to the lane with that 200 gold item of absolutely nothing sitting in your inventory, and then 30 seconds to a minute later, I see you sitting under the towers, not hitting creeps, utilizing 0 of that extra damage because you can't approach the creep wave without dying. Instead, invest that 200 gold into 2 more sets of tangos, or a set of tangos and a salve, or a set of tangos and a mango, or a set of tangos and a couple clarities. Literally any form of regen. Do not buy a Quelling Blade. You can buy that at the side shop, which is right there in your lane. In fact, if you're so concerned about not securing those first couple of last hits in the lane, I highly recommend that you just go do some last hit training with the last hit trainer before you queue up for a game. Get comfortable on your hero without the bonus damage, and you'll be just fine. It just takes a couple of creeps after the bounty runes have been picked up. You have your Quelling Blade, but guess what? You also have a bunch of extra regen. You're going to be able to stay in lane longer, get more gold in the long run, and ultimately come out ahead in the laning stage. Number 2, identify the easiest hero to harass and focus them. I don't care what position you're playing, and I don't care what position the easiest hero to harass is playing. You focus that hero, and you continue to focus them until they have to either leave the lane or go shrine, or TP home, or ferry themselves more regen and take the courier away from their team, but just focus that hero. Do not split your harass between both heroes. Don't focus an ogre part of the time and then a weak specter the other half of the time. Just focus the specter, or focus the crystal maiden who moves very slowly, or focus the hero who showed up to lane with a Quelling Blade instead of more regen, and just blow them up. Use your abilities, right-click them as much as possible. If you can, conserve your mana because you want to just be able to threaten to kill them. So right-click them as much as possible, but if there's a good opportunity to dump a bunch of damage into them or potentially get a kill, go ahead and use your spells. And that's either going to deny them farm, or if it's the support that you're harassing out of lane, it's going to ensure that you end up having a 2-on-1 or 3-on-1 against the remaining hero once that support has to leave the lane. Number 3, decide what your plan is for the creep equilibrium early on and try to stick to that. This means, do you want to push the wave? Do you want to pull the wave back? Do you want to static the wave in front of your tower? It's really important to have a plan about what to do with the creep wave, and this goes for supports and cores alike. I have seen so many cores trying to static the lane in front of their tower while their supports sits in the creep wave, harassing the other heroes and pulling the enemy creeps onto them, thus tanking them and pushing their own wave into the enemy tower, giving away a whole bunch of farm. Likewise, I've also seen plenty of times where the carry is trying to static the lane and keep it in a safe spot, and the supports go and they pull the small camp, and this pulls the wave even farther under the tower, and the carry has to just tank the creeps under the tower, and then the wave rebounds off of the tower and ends up pushing onto the enemy side again. So figure out what you and your support, or what you and your core want to do with the creeps early, and then try to do that unless something changes in the lane, like perhaps the other heroes leave and you have a catapult wave and you want to push the tower. Then you can change it up. But early on, you want to try and stick with the plan and execute it to the best of your abilities. Number 4, smoke immediately upon spawning and go ward the mid lane. This one's mostly for supports, but also if you're a mid laner and you have the ward given to you, this is very, very important. Not only ward the mid lane, which seems to be the most important lane to ward at the moment because it's usually the only solo lane, but ward the side that has the most dangerous roaming potential on the enemy team. This means that if there is a Shadow Shaman, for example, in the safe lane, because Shadow Shaman is a hero that can roam relatively effectively and kill the mid laner. So you want to place that ward on the side that the Shadow Shaman's lane is, also hopefully securing the rune vision as well. It's usually a double purpose ward in the mid lane. If there's a Pudge or a Spirit Breaker in the off lane, you usually want to ward the off lane sided rune so that the mid laner can see the rune and potentially the dangerous roaming off laner. The reason that you want to smoke to do this is because the towers are so close together now that they can almost see all the way across the river. So you have to be very, very careful with how you approach the river to ward, and the smoke will get you there faster to be able to do that before the enemy hero's mid or support gets to the river to ward, which may allow you to pick off a free ward and get that nice vision advantage early on. Number 5, as a core, bury yourself more HP and mana regeneration when you bring yourselves those initial small bits of items, whether it's a Blades of Attack for your power treads eventually, the extra components of a magic wand, maybe your first Wraith Band or Null Talisman, or even just a circlet to eventually build into a bracer. Try to also bring yourself out a set of tangos or a salve or an extra mango or a couple of clarities, just because this will allow you to stay in the lane longer, stay on the map longer, potentially go farm the jungle without having to go back to base. And this means that the longer that you are able to access farm and be around experience and farm creeps while your opponents are running back to base to heal, they're wasting so much more time than you are, and that is going to allow you to build a pretty significant advantage in both gold and experience in the long run, even though you're spending a little bit of gold early on these HP and mana regeneration items. Number 6, if you're a support and you die in lane, do not TP back to the lane that you just died in. If you are dying in lane and TPing back to that lane and there is nothing for you to do other than maybe throw out a couple of right clicks of harass or simply stand there leeching experience, you are wasting one of the most important resources in the entire game. Walk back to lane and you'll still have the ability to reinforce your other 2 lanes within the next few seconds or a minute. If you're TPing back to lane after dying, you are giving the enemy perfect information that they should 100% make a rotation to your other 2 lanes because you cannot be there to stop them. So that's it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope these tips are helpful to you. These are some things that came up when I was streaming the other day and doing some replay reviews. And I think that each one of these things is a very small tweak that you can make to your game that is going to have massive gains in your MMR. Good luck, have fun, and we'll see you in the next one.